Okay, I'm going to talk about the movie Denial. Denial, I've just saw it, and I'm assuming you've seen it. It's all about David Irving. And I have read Hitler's War. And the thing with David Irving is, you have someone who's written a book, and he claims he's done all this data, and he claims he's done all this work, and he's the archives and blah, 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 and he's just directly sourced the documents. And there's the question of who can you trust? How can you tell truth from fiction? How can you tell when someone's bullshitting you? How do I not know that David Irving or any other person who wrote some kind of book that claims to have done research, how do I know they're telling the truth? And the answer for me is someone makes a claim and I go, okay, that's interesting, that's great. If, let's say he made it all up, I'm assuming there's other experts out there who would be able to disprove what he's saying. And so I look for the response. And you apply this for everything. Anyone who makes any kind of claims, like a response. And I have not found one. I see name calling. I see people trying to, mostly name calling, ad hominem attacks, adjectives. Oh, he's extreme, radical, crazy, blah, blah, anti-Semitic, blah, blah. It's like, is he lying? Is he making it up? And he's said in the past that, he welcomed certain challenges. I forgot which one of them was, something about presenting a document. I think it was presenting a letter from showing that Hitler knew directly that the Holocaust was that he planned. It was actually a concerted effort, a specific and actual plan. It wasn't accidental. He actually wanted to exterminate Jews, and from what I understand, no one has actually been able to produce this paper. And it would be pretty easy for someone to refute him. I mean, if I saw some kind of debate where someone would say, that people debate. They debate. And and it would be something along the lines of, oh, Mr. Irving, you claim this. However, I have a piece of paper from here, and you said this, and this is not true, and you said that, and that's not true. And your document here, well, actually, that's proven to be a forgery. And we can talk about the actual details. But I haven't seen that, and so in the absence of any actual contrary, even not forget about evidence, actual discussion, anyone who stepped forward is at least to give the semblance of some kind of an equal opposing voice. I tend to think that, well, his claims remain unrefuted. So Hitler's War and David Irving is a guy who he says he's done all this research and no one seems to be able to contradict him. And in this movie, and you see, when the attacks are so vicious and so personal, and there's so much name calling, and we're supposed to see if you're confident in refuting David Irving, if you're confident to put him down, you wouldn't need name calling. You would just say, Mr. Irving, that's not right what you said, that document, you would talk about the topic. There would be no need for any kind of name calling. You're wrong because da-da-da-da-da, and so said this, and in fact in 1942, that's not what happened. The paper you quote was a forgery, and I can prove it because of X, Y, Z, and there would be it wouldn't even be emotional. It would be simple, embarrassing for David Irving. It was a simple list of, you're wrong here, you're wrong there, this is not true, that's not true, you said this, that apple was this date, here you contradicted yourself here, and da-da-da-da-da. So in the absence of that voice, that calm, rational voice full of actual arguments and evidence, contrary evidence, you have to assume that he must have some really, really good points that they're choosing not to. I don't know. Now, with this film, the film is clearly presenting him as this horrible, evil, nasty guy. And Deborah Lipstadt, is that her name? Lipstadt? She is a halo and shows her, she jogs, and the entire film is from her perspective. So it's a totally subjective view of her experience. And in this, they tried to make her seem like the victim here, because the first thing you see is she goes to preparing to give a lecture and she's getting ready and she's putting out her book and working. She's working hard. Shows her working hard. And then it shows the dun-dun-dun, David Irving with his two guys come to film and they sneak in and he's at the back. Oh, he's angry. He's angry. He's yelling at her. And now David Irving, I've seen him, some of his videos, him talk, and he doesn't actually talk like that. He can be sort of, not pompous, what's the word? He's got that accent, and he's very low, and he's very confident. He does talk like that. But actual anger, he's never, even when he talks about his opponents, he's never shown anger. I've never seen him sort of, and those bastards. Anyway, so yes, David Irving's presented as a complete caricature of this guy with this, and the actor, they got the look on his face was really like a blithering idiot, like with this vacant, crazy look in his eyes, and so it's really, the movie is, it's not a good film. You see, to have a good film, you need a good bad guy, and he wasn't a good bad guy because you never understood what he wanted. Is he crazy? Was he wrong? And even the judge at one point who said, well, we don't know if he is, because they had to prove that he intentionally lied. Because what if he believes it's true, then it's not libel or something? Anyway, that details doesn't matter. But the point is, he wasn't clearly a bad guy. And even right towards the end, when he lost the case, he goes to put out his hand to shake the hand of says, oh, well, good job, blah, blah. And the guy doesn't shake his hand. And then David Irving sort of like looks a bit miffed, which is kind of like, hold on a sec. Make up your mind. If he's like this evil guy, evil guys do not put out their hand, because he was planning to win and he'd just been humiliated. He's got to pay damages and all this stuff. It ruined. And in that moment, to him to put out his hand and say, well, good job. Is he a good guy now? Because that, to me, that's like what a really good guy would do. The evil guy would yell and scream and this is not over, and that kind of thing. So I don't know. And then Lipstadt leaves the court, shows her raising her hands like a football team, which is a bit out of kilter with the whole thing of the pain of the Holocaust. You think she'd walk out really sad and sort of, I think that was done wrong. Anyway, the film's shit, and it was so slow. Oh my God, it's so slow. She walks to court, she's getting in the car, she's making breakfast, she's all these things, and she's jogging, blah, blah. And the other thing is, in real life, from what I understand, she was not... she started it because she was the one that started saying that he was, he made it up and blah, 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 blah. And he went there to confront her, to defend himself, to debate her. So she really started this, and she's got the multi-million dollars. See, this thing that movie never explained. Where did this teacher working at a suburb, it showed like a lot of black kids, like a hood type guys, young man, hanging out in the corridor to show that she's just this normal, regular person, whereas he was stuffy and David Irving's in his, It's just really, he was such a caricature. And again, if he is wrong, see, what are the possibilities, right? Number one is David Irving is a psycho. He's crazy. If he was crazy, he wouldn't have written so many books and done tours. So he's not crazy. The other one is he's straight out lying. If he's lying, then it should be easy to refute him with facts. And there would be no need to portray him as, you would... Anyway, suffice to say, they don't do that. And let me just check how much time I've got. Anyway, so it was very ambiguous. Very ambiguous in the end. Was he a bad guy? It was sloppy. And the movie just assumed that you were going to agree with her. And the other thing is this. In the court, he's this one guy sitting by himself without he represented himself. Again, that's a bit confusing because a true bad, evil guy wouldn't do that. He'd be a coward and run away and hide behind lawyers. And whereas he's saying, yeah, I'm going to defend myself. And again, not a very evil type, a very ballsy, admirable thing to do. Well, we could say foolhardy, but still, this is not a coward. Whereas she was the one that was in court, not talking, surrounded by her team of lawyers. And they kept emphasizing this thing of, they wanted to keep her quiet, and it was difficult for her not to talk, and her relationship with the lawyers, which I thought was really boring. Because if you look at it, there's on one hand, there's this one guy by himself, representing himself. And on the other hand, there's this woman with a team of, I don't know what those lawyers would have cost. And it was a bit vague as to who paid for this all. Plus also the history of how she had previously been funded by other organisations to come and attack him. So anyway, obviously it was going to be a propaganda piece. You couldn't do anything else. As a story, leaving aside the reality and just seeing it as an actual story, that was the problem with the story, as I just described. He's not very... It doesn't make sense. If you didn't know anything of the history, let's say you didn't know anything about David Irving, didn't know anything about the history of what happened, I imagine it would be very unsatisfying, because he's not truly... Is he evil? Is he a bad guy? Or it doesn't really make sense in that way. Anyway, that's it. I'm not going to give it a thing out of stars, but disappointing film. And if anything, it was sloppy, and and also her saying that some things should not be debated. I refuse to debate certain things, and then she compared it to UFOs and things like that, crazy stuff. That's a little bit manipulative, and also it didn't really ring true. It didn't ring. Because she's portrayed as this person of character and strength, and they forgot to put the halo around her. You know, she's walking this wonderful, perfect. There's an expression they use for characters, for female protagonists that are too perfect, and I forgot what it is. But anyway, so she was that. She was one of those perfect females that just wonderful, but she didn't really do what I thought that a person would do, is that if David Irving is this crazy nut job we can ignore, then just ignore him. If you're going to talk about him, then you should be willing to step up and debate him. But you can't bring him up, put him down, and then refuse to debate him. It doesn't have to be a full-on one-on-one confrontation. You can do it through email. It can be a long-term thing. It shouldn't be that hard to do. So if anything, I think that David Irving looks good in this. And the details for how he lost, even that was a bit sort of shaky at the end. It was like, because the judge made a really, really good point about his intention and stuff, and it wasn't. I mean, the judge. That's the other thing. Just to finish off here, if the Holocaust is real and it actually happened, and this is a big important event, then why should this one court case matter? What this one judge says in one situation? Because they never juries as one guy. One judge is going to decide whether the Holocaust happened or not. It's going to somehow this is going to be official. It's going to affect the whole world. So that was a bit pretentious to try to make out that this was the big, well, the Holocaust is on trial here. History is on trial. People appeal. I mean, it's... Anyway, an unsatisfying film, and she should have debated him. And she's not, as much as they can try to use tricks to make her likable, she didn't debate him, and she looked like she was the person who, with the big team of lawyers who, worked hard to refute this one guy who battled alone, and maybe he lost on a technicality. I don't know the details of the actual, but again, if you could have disproved them, then just do it. Anyway, that's it. I'll leave it there. Thanks for listening. Oh, sorry, one more thing. That when she was entering court and some dude was walking up going, "You bitch," or something, "You bitch," I thought, come on. It's tried to portray as, this poor woman all alone facing this big event. You think Irvin wasn't nervous? He's not a lawyer. She had a team of professional lawyers around her. Come on, man.